Howdy and welcome back to my channel. My name is Diana Chu and this is Slow Gaze. Welcome or welcome back. This video is all about the Róen eyeshadow toppers. The one in Disco Eye and the one in Summer Disco. I was so interested in looking into these products because they were right up my alley. I love cream eyeshadows. I love anything sparkly or that have the word disco in it. I'm ready to party constantly. But when I bought these, I found that they were very, very different from what I was expecting. So stay tuned for that. I also will compare them in this video to the two Róen palettes that I have, the 4 quad ones. I have 1111 and 75 degrees. So if any of that is interesting to you, you want to see them applied and compared onto my eyelids, I will talk about the texture, how much product you're getting, and the wearability of them, colors, base pigments, everything that I think you would like to know. These are $29 US each on Sephora, so it's quite a hefty thing to invest on one single topper. If you haven't joined me already here on YouTube, please subscribe. I'd really love that and it would mean a lot to me and help my channel grow. I'm all about shopping my stash and trying to use it up thoughtfully. I do reviews, I do looks on my monolids. Without further ado, let's dive in. I could find very few YouTube videos on this exact product and they were never to my satisfaction. So we have them both. We have them both here and I'm going to show you them on the eye and how they glisten and gleam. I'm all about these types of shadows because I love using my fingers. I also love the idea of a single compact that I can just bring along with me. It's also the idea of like the holy grail shadow, you know. This is the Disco Universelle and she's supposed to have this universal color. It's kind of champagne-y, and when I mean champagne, I think that word is thrown around a lot. It has a little bit of a base of pink, silver, and a little bit of gold too. It might be hard to tell, but it's a textured pan, quite raised. I found that this is a different formula and a different texture altogether from Summer Disco Eye. The mirrors do have a little plastic film on them in case they get messy, and I think they will. You see how far less raised this one is, and it is more gold, meaning to me that it has more of a base yellow and orange pigment, but the reflect is still silver in there. I think they have multi-dimensional pigments. This one is far brighter and this one definitely has a lot of base pigment in it. So as far as toppers go, obviously I think they're marketed for like what type of undertone do you like, what kind of makeup do you usually use, and how bright do you really want to shine? We're shining bright here. I'll start with Summer Disco Eye because this one was the one that intrigued me the most. It came out a little bit after the other. They're both the same amount. Oh, actually, if you look closer at them, they're actually different amounts. Sneaky, sneaky. This one's 0.6 ounces and this is 0.5 ounces. To put that into perspective, 1.63 grams over here and 1.4 grams. So we're talking an 0 point something of a gram math. They're both made in the USA. If you flip the back and you look at it and it's like, oh, all in French, don't be fooled. So I'm going in pretty firmly with my finger because I think that's what is recommended. You can see that the base pigment is actually way more apparent than the sparkle. I'm going to go straight in. I don't have anything in my eyes right now. That's just 2 taps. 2 tiny taps and you see the copper color coming off. You see a little bit of scattered light. From far away you can't really see it because of my monolids, but when I blink it has just a nice subtle wash of color. I'm going to go in with one more finger and see, same finger, but just one more dosage of a finger. Picking it up more on my finger pad now and really I'm going to try to get as close in as possible here. Pressing, tapping, and pulling slightly. A press and a tug. I've seen it described as little starry nights because there's larger chunks and smaller chunks, and I would say that's accurate. I was afraid that they wouldn't disperse like evenly and I would have to go in, but somehow it is very even, and this is my 3rd finger dosage, like really leaning forward here. Yeah, so that's pretty gorgeous. I would say it's not really a topper because it would change the color of my base eyeshadow quite a bit, This, to me, the Summer Disco one, is way more a single eyeshadow. Now for this one. This is my favorite. Let's just be very clear. This is my favorite of the two. I thought, because it's summer and I'm really into the bronzed look, I was going to love the summer one more. Let's open her back, because perfect. She'll give me the gold I'm looking for. She'll give me just all types of summer vibes, but it's way more subtle than I was hoping for. And when it says disco eye, I want a true disco. And maybe this is, you know, just enough for you. Maybe it's like, wow, I think this is exactly how summery I want to be. I can put a little bit on the lower lash line as well, just to show you, just a hint. But this, to me, the Disco Universal, is the true topper. Now when I put my finger in here, and I'm going in with a different finger, it is flaky. It is literally like touching fish scales. It's supposed to be like you touch it and you press it and be firm with it, and it's going to activate. And you can see already I have just mermaid scales just all over. It is absolutely gorgeous. You can also see the amount of chunkiness, the sparkles on there, and it translates really well to the eye. So let's turn this way. Excuse my hair that's hiding. It's like so clean. Mosh pit. That was just one tug. If that's not a Starry Night, I don't know what Impressionist museum you've been going to. Very little, if at all, any base pigment. But it's sticking. There's maybe just that much of fallout. That probably was my doing. Everything else wants to stick and stay put. I'm excited to be showing these to you because I have monolids, so everything gets hidden under a fold of skin, and even so, it's still staying where it wants to be. So that was just one dosage. Let's go in with one more. Yep, that is a true eye topper to me. Way more of a diamond wet look, way more of a disco party look. If I wanted to amp it up, I could go in with different sizes of shimmer, like what I thought the Natasha Denona pots of the chroma crystal toppers were in nude. I thought that it would give me this kind of like wet look. It's definitely a chunky wet look, like you've eaten pearls and somehow they have manifested onto your eyelid. Hopefully that's already been a helpful comparison. I can't believe that they're different amounts. That seems slightly disingenuous to me. I am going to go into these two other palettes of hers that I have, the 75 degree and the 1111. So one is the pink kind of rosy 1111 here. This one's very versatile actually. It has taupes and mauves and peaches and creams and burgundies and a gunmetal. So you can actually build warm and cool looks with this. And then the 75 degrees one is quite warm toned. Now the reason I'm going into this is because these are obviously 4 pans in here, but each one is smaller than this. So you cannot depot and interchange them. This is a different size altogether. Looking at these now, this one looks very similar to that. And I will show you what that one is. It could be obviously Nikki Dust, FaceTime, or J'adore. I have no clue. The way that she wrote it on here is just listed this way. So I'll try to do some research and let you know down below in the description. But basically this lightest color in here, if I go in with yet another clean finger, this has the same texture almost as this, except it's creamier. So this one does feel like it has a lot of base pigment. This one has way more true gold shimmers, and it doesn't have that chunky reflect in there. So let me put that over this. Oh, see, that already gives me way more payoff than the Summer Disco Eye. And it's way more uniform payoff too. It's more like a molten metallic. Gorgeous. All 4 of these in the 75 degree palette have similar textures. If you've done your research on these palettes, you'll find that they all have very different formulations from each other. So they're either creamier or more emollient, or they're easier to, you know, get in and swirl. They'll have different sizes and colors of glitter and pearl reflex. Like, they're all quite multi-dimensional, which I love, but you won't know until you see them in person, which is why I really wanted to do this video. This guy, the 1111, is really special because in the same way, they have very different formulations. This one has the least chunky glitter in there, but this guy, it has blue, purple, and almost pinky orange reflex, so it's absolutely gorgeous. But this has the same flaky texture as this, Disco Universal. So when I shift these, you can see how pink and mauve this is, and just how almost silver champagne this one is. When I'm picking it up, it's almost like a sequin pillow. I'm gonna go right in over the disco eye. See how metallic foiled that can get? Absolutely gorgeous. It literally looks like a mermaid in the sun. I hope this was helpful to you, and I will do a lot more looks on these particular palettes. I was just hoping to give you a little taste into these two. If you're thinking about them, I would so much more go for the Disco Eye Universal. Their first shade. It is a true topper. It is unlike anything else. It is so unique, and it stays. It is really that gorgeous topper look that I think so many brands have tried to come out with, have kind of missed the mark on. Purport a 24-month shelf life, which is great. I haven't found that they like melt in the sun or anything like that. I peeked at the ingredients, and they do have coconut oil in them that gives that slip, that shine, that kind of wash and diffusion, and it kind of melts into your skin and reacts to the warmth of your skin. Hi, I forgot to do swatches. Boom, just a little light swatch there. You can see how scattered and how diamond that is. If I go in a second time, don't trust the swatches. Always trust what your eye climate might be. My eyes are so oily, and obviously I'm not going onto my eyeball and just like dragging, you know, these are meant to be like tapped and pressed and pulled and, you know, maybe worked a little differently. So don't trust the swatches, but I do think they're helpful to see, especially in this case. That was the Disco Eye Universal. This is the Summer Disco Eye. See what I mean about base pigment? That's almost like a bronzer color. And if I go in the same amount, so 3 times, the shimmer is simply just not there for how I'm swatching this. Again, this is not how I would recommend putting it on the eye, but these are very, very different. Warm palette, the 75 degrees one, I'm gonna go in with this really creamy, wow, it just like picked up a lot real quick there. Really creamy copper right there. So honestly, if you have this palette already, I would say it's not worth getting either of the other two, except maybe this Universal Disco. So I'm going to show you what this one looks like next to that. That has even more crushed sparkle to it. This brownish shade that's closest to the mirror in the 75 degree palette. Very true brown, gorgeous shimmers. It seems to have a little bit more silver in here and a little bit more gold in here, but I would say they're very similar. The textures are extremely similar. And this has way more of a deeper base. It looks almost like a burnt wood umber. But I don't like this palette as much as the 1111, only because it doesn't have this dark, deep metal shade, which I will swatch for you right there. The next one I'm going in with is this Coral Salmon. This palette has so much more range. Pinkish shade, this true almost like magenta. We're gonna call her Rosalind of the Night. Yeah, just all over. I feel like these look really gorgeous on deeper skin tones as well. And then lastly, my favorite in the palette is this flaky one that I was just gushing about. We're gonna call her Harry Styles. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. If you move it about, and you can move it about, they're not like gonna dry down necessarily, but this one is such a good dupe for the Disco Universal Eye. For $13 more, you could get 4 shades in a palette. So these retail for $42 US at Sephora as well. Between these two, if I had to choose one and only buy one again, I'm torn because I really, really love these tones on myself, but I think I have a lot more range with this one. This flaky color is just gorgeous. Swatch is done. Don't you feel like hoops are back? I'm not sure if you're feeling the fatigue of watching new releases come out, or wow, that's my fortune teller look. I feel like I would be giving you the perfect phallic subliminal vibes if this necklace was any longer. I watched a video recently on Lauren May Beauty. Hi. And she was talking about old YouTube versus new YouTube in the beauty sphere. And I began watching Jeffree Star. I began watching Tati Westbrook, and it's obviously evolved, and I found my neighborhoods and my little suburbs and figured out how to kind of find the content that I was looking for and the people that I wanted to invest my time in and that I trusted, and also people that calmed me, right? Like, I love Michelle Wong. I mean, I love a lot of people, and maybe I'll do a beauty community tag someday. I was watching that video and Lauren was saying how old beauty YouTube would come out and, you know, do product reviews, but only on like a single palette, the original Naked palette from Urban Decay, and so many people would review it, and then they'd have weeks and weeks or months to show you different ways to use it. There'd be so many more reviews on it, and you'd really be able to make an informed decision on every palette or product that you were interested in. Nowadays, there's way more product reviews and less tutorials, but also on products that are just coming out. And of course, there's the ever popular anti-haul, something that I think Samantha March started, and she has been talking about, should I buy it or will I buy it, and kind of shopping with you, the viewer. The deliberation point and the anticipation is something that I certainly get into and I enjoy. It's like tantalizing to put my values out there and see if the new brands are chalking up, or, you know, get excited about something new that looks pretty. In the case of the Róen shadows, I'm totally in love with these because it just is so effortless, and it gives me this halo idea of myself that, oh, I can be effortless, and oh, it can give me that shine, and it can tell me that I'm at a dance, I'm at a disco, I am living a life that I cannot currently live, and that is the appeal for me. Also, the fact that it's called Róen and it has the little accent on the O, which I have no clue what that means. They have it printed in English, but also in French on the back, which also gives me a halo of, wow, this is French beauty, or wow, maybe a French girl would wear this, and, you know, it's all about that idea and mystique. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please comment down below if you are interested in buying the Róen eyeshadows, or if you've picked them up already. If you have any questions about them, I'd be happy to answer as well. I try to read every single comment I can. If you're new to my channel or you are just returning and wondering about it, please subscribe. I am putting up new content every single week. Stay safe out there, and I will see you again soon. Adios.